Welcome to Money Chic, Financial Education with Shari Rash, the podcast that's here to empower you with the knowledge and skills you need to master your personal finances and live your best financial life. I am joined today by Jeanne Burlowski. She is a full-time academic strategist, podcast host, and speaker for students ages 12 to 26, their parents, and the professionals that serve them. And she is the author of the book Launch: How to Get Your Kids Through College Free and Into Jobs They Love Afterwards. Jeanne helps parents set their kids up to grad college debt-free, ready to jump directly into careers they excel at and love. Her work has been featured in publications such as the Huffington Post, USA Today, Parents Magazine, and U.S. News and World Report, and on CBS News. Jeanne, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. It's a privilege.
I'm looking at this in a little bit selfishly, being that I am a mother of four. So I want to obviously approach it as a financial advisor, but having four kids and likely that the majority of them are going to attend college, I'm going to pull some information out from you as a mother as well. So I hope that's okay that I wear two hats today.
Oh, yes. And every mother listening to this and every father listening to this is going to be thankful you're doing exactly that.
Yes. So we want to really talk about today the financial impact and how saving for college, paying for college, preparing for college is so intimidating. There's so much information out there. But first, I want to get a little bit of your background. So I listened to your podcast, and as an academic strategist, you help package kids when they're applying for advanced degrees. And I laughed at that because, you are picturing your kid as like this little well-rounded package and they're awesome, they're great, but you're trying to put that on a piece of paper and explain that to a stranger. So what does package your kid mean?
Well, when students are they're partway through college and they think, I want to go to medical school or law school, or I want to apply for an MD, PhD program. These are applications that have, the stakes are very, very high. So people hire a professional that helps them to figure out what to say in the application so that if there are 200 people applying for one spot, which sometimes happens, your kid gets it. And so people, for 25 years, people have been hiring me to be that person that figures out what you should say in the medical school application. And there's a funny part of this story. As an academic strategist, I'm helping people to envision a beautiful, ideal future they want for themselves and then figure out the fastest, least expensive way to get there. Part of that includes filling out an application, and I help with that. But I've had to spend a lot of time talking to people about their student loan debt. And sometimes I've had to say, you actually can't go to medical school now because you could never pay all your debt off on a doctor's salary. You got too much debt from undergrad. And that's the heartbreaking part of my story. But the happy part of my story is in 25 years, I've had some of the most strategic, brilliant kids in the country coming through my office. And sometimes when I would say, how much student loan debt do you have right now? If we're looking at the cumulative, they would say, I have zero. And I'd say, you have zero? How did you do that? And then these kids gave me the most brilliant ideas. And those are the ideas I package up and bring to the world. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you that almost never is the answer. My parents saved up enough money to pay cash for the whole thing. There are other, easier, more low-hanging fruit strategies that parents are using to get college paid for.
That's interesting. And I feel like that's where public is missing a lot of that information is, how do I pay for it? Usually is save or get scholarships, which both of those very fun options, right? Forcing your kid to fill out scholarship applications and saving this money throughout, and most parents start late, right? So then you're saving so much money. And then what are you sacrificing during that time frame? It's just stressful and it's not an empowering experience for most parents when your child is going off to college, their life is changing. And it should be exciting and happy, but it ends up just being stressful. But I think there's just not as much information out there for parents beyond save or get scholarship. That's how you pay. So you say that scholarships are a relatively small part of the process when kids through college debt free. So what do they look like?
Well, in 25 years, I have had so many creative ideas come across my desk from clients that I've served. And I'll just give you an example of two. And it's like a broad buffet of ideas. And I'm a good one to vet the ideas and help you decide whether this is a good, safe strategy to use, because I'm the person that's going to be there if your child is ever trying to apply to Harvard Medical School. I'm not going to recommend any ideas that are going to jeopardize somebody's application someday to law school, medical school, graduate school, or an MBA program. So here's just two really good ideas. One is college classes in high school. I'm not talking about the AP program. The AP program, the Atlantic magazine said that it was a scam and that AP students are being suckered. But there is a better option, and that's called dual enrollment or concurrent enrollment. And this is where your state will allow children as young as 10th or 11th grade, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, to take real college classes in high school and have them count for college credit and high school credit at the same time. And so some students who max this out walk across the stage at their high school graduation with 2 years of college completely done at state expense. Now, parents wonder, is this safe? Is this a problem? Sometimes school counselors will say, oh, we don't think you should do it. Well, the money goes out the door to the college instead of the school district. So perhaps the counselors are being told to discourage this program. They'll say things like, what if your child gets a bad grade in a college class in 11th grade? It'll follow her when she's trying to apply for medical school someday. I'm not even worried about that. I don't even find that to be a problem. I teach a half-day seminar where students learn how to get higher grades than other people while studying less than most other people do. I'm not worried about kids getting low grades in these college classes. So taking college classes in high school at state expense, wow, there you go. You could get 2 years of college done by the time you're 18 years old. And that slashes the money that you're going to pay immediately in half. And I think some of your listeners are going to want to know, is that allowed in my state? And states have different rules for this, but the way to figure it out for your individual state is to Google the name of your state along with the words dual enrollment or concurrent enrollment. One or the other, and it's called different things in different places. So you Google that and you get to your state's Department of Education website and it'll tell you exactly what's allowed for your state. And parents are taking this information and going to the high school and saying, I want my 11th grader's schedule organized so that he's taking the history of Western civilization and Algebra 2 and English 101 at a college down the street instead of at the high school. And it's going to count for high school credit, college credit at the same time. So that's one idea.
Now, is the issue with the AP classes, is it because then you're taking the AP, you're getting your grades on your report card for the AP class, and then you take that exam. And if you don't do well in the exam, the whole year was wasted, essentially. Is that, if I remember back to high school?
The year wasn't really wasted. I mean, it's good to build academic muscle by being in a class that's a little harder than usual.
But you're not getting the college credit that was is that?
This is the worry.
Yeah.
Students are told, take this AP class, it's a little harder, but if you do well on the test at the end, you get free college credit. But is it really true? Do you really get it? And what we're finding is that 48% of students who take an AP class do not get the promised college credit at the end. I had a student who was applying to medical school. And so I'm asking her, give me some examples of your academic capability besides just your grades and your test scores, because we're going to write a paragraph about how academically capable you are. She said, well, I was an AP scholar with distinction. I said, oh, so that means you took a lot of AP classes and you did well. She said, yes, I took 13 AP classes and I got very high scores on all the tests. I said, how much college credit did you get out of that? And she said, I got 0. The college, when I got to college, they said, we don't want to take those. We want you to take real college classes, not AP classes taught by a high school teacher who may or may not have had some special training. And so she said to me, I'm actually really disappointed because my parents paid $1,300 for me to be able to take all these AP tests, and I didn't get one single college credit out of it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to think of it from a business perspective. Of course, the college doesn't want you to, they don't want to pay the tuition, which is revenue in their pocket, to take the class versus accepting the high school, the credit you got during high school. So it does, if you think about it that way, it does make sense why aren't real keen on accepting AP credits.
And I think it's changed. Back when I was in high school, I took AP classes and I got real college credit for all my AP classes that I took. Mm-hmm. But it's just different now. And colleges are trying to cut every corner that they can and get every extra dollar that they can. So AP is risky, but dual enrollment or concurrent enrollment, those are real college classes taken for real college credit. And so they can transfer. And some students are so smart, they've got 2 years of college done at their high school graduation. They tie it up with a little bow and they block transfer it. That means they've got an associate's degree on the day of their high school graduation, block transfer, the whole thing. So nobody's picking it apart and saying, oh, we'll take this class, but we won't take this one. We won't take this one. And these are the kids so proud of themselves, so academically capable at age 18 because they've already had a whole bunch of college. They're the ones that move into college dormitories and all their friends are asking them what to do because they're so far ahead of everybody else, academically and financially.
And so you mentioned the second way, and I think I cut you off. Dive into your second idea.
So I said I can only offer 2 here in this little limited amount of time we have, but this is by no means an exhaustive list of all the creative ways to get college paid for. A second one is tuition reimbursement programs. This is where an employer will give you a paycheck and then they will actually write a check for $5,000 or more per year and just send that to chip in for your college tuition. When I used to hear about this years and years ago, I thought, well, that's for full-time employees, right? Doesn't that sound like a full-time employee benefit? But actually, there are many, many companies that provide full-time, they provide tuition reimbursement benefits to their part-time employees. So when UPS, Wells Fargo, Ann Taylor, Gap, Home Depot, they will allow a student to go to the college of their choice, work part-time at the store, and then they pay $5,000 a year toward the student's tuition. Now, to make this happen, a student has to kind of think ahead. And, teenager brain development isn't always thinking that far ahead. Some parent interaction here is called for. But parents who say, let's pick a college that's actually in a city where you could work a tuition reimbursement job. And let's make sure that we have looked at the public transportation to see if you can take the bus from your college campus down to the Ann Taylor store so that you can work there. Hey, what a great idea. You're interested in fashion merchandising anyway. What a great thing to work there, get work experience right in your field and have them give you a paycheck and chip in for your college tuition. So that's just 2 ideas. And I have many, many, many more ideas in the book I wrote, Launch How to Get Your Kids Through College Debt-Free and into Jobs They Love Afterward. I just want to make sure everything is really easily available to parents and all the ideas all in one place.
It is so overwhelming. It's funny you mentioned the debt, the tuition. I spend more time than I'd like to admit in the Chick-fil-A store. Kids love the chicken nuggets, and they have signs up that they will pay towards your college tuition. And I was curious of Is that real? Is that real? How does that work? And there's a ton of kids, it's always full of high schoolers that work there. So that might be another of an organization. I'm not sure if that's come across to your attention, but
there are some businesses that will try to make you go to a particular college. So they'll say, we will pay for Arizona State University, but we won't pay for anything else. I'm not really in favor of those. I want students to be able to go where they want to go. And so we're really looking at the college, businesses that will pay for any kind of college, as long as that college is good and it's safe and it's accredited, et cetera. So that would be the first question I'd ask. Can I go to any college and work here part-time?
Because free isn't always free, right? There could be rules and stipulations around it and all of that. Absolutely. Yeah.
But free is sometimes actually free, because these businesses get tremendous tax breaks for chipping in on this tuition. So they're not just doing it to be nice. There are real reasons why it makes sense for them to do it. And they're eager to hire go-getter students that'll work part-time and be in college at the same time. UPS, for example, is just a classic one. And many students are working for UPS part-time while they're in college. And then they get a job with UPS right in their field when they graduate. And keep in mind, UPS has more employees than just package delivery. They have to have people that fix their airplanes, and they have to have marketing people and business management people, and they've got sales. They've got everything you can imagine there. So that can be a doorway to a future career as well.
That's great advice. So one of the challenges I have as an advisor is that paying for college is one of the biggest hurdles for most parents, right? We all have the intention of, we want to pay for it. We want to pay for kids' education. But we also want to be able to retire. We want to, free, or we feel a guilt of our children having to incur debt because we weren't able to cover the whole cost, or it was way more than what we wanted. What are ways, though, if a parent is unable to cover the fund because it's so expensive, what are some clever ways to avoid or manage it for a child, and still then in turn find a job that they love? What are some of the strategies around that?
Well, I love what you're saying about help a student get to a job that they love. And here's really the saddest thing that could happen. The parent sacrifices and saves and maybe even compromises some of the savings and investment in their own retirement so they can send this kid to college. And then the kid goes to college and they come out and the parent says, "Have you got any job interviews?" And the child has no job prospects, no work experience, no idea how to begin to even take this random set of college classes and make it into some sort of a career choice. This is the thing that is the most expensive. One day I was on my way to the airport. My Uber driver asked me who I was and where I was going. So I said, I'm going to speak at a conference. I'm the author of this book. He said, "Oh, I wish I would have had you so many years ago. My daughter got a political science degree and it was really expensive, $180,000 in debt for this political science degree." Now keep in mind, her dad is an Uber driver. And he said, then she realized that she hated it and she couldn't find any jobs in the field anyway. So she got a little job as a medical assistant so she could just pay a little bit toward her rent and her spending money. And this is the little person that takes your blood pressure before you see the doctor. And she loved it. And she was interacting with patients and she loved the nursing staff there with her. She came back and said, "Dad, would you pay more money for me to go to 2-year nursing school so I could be a 2-year RN?" What? Now that is a stomach clenching waste of money that she's going to take $180,000 in debt from a political science degree that came because people just told her, take random college classes and see what you're interested in. And she wound up there. And now she's going to flush it all down the toilet and go and start over again with a 2-year nursing degree. That's where this gets really, really expensive. What we want to do is we want to help our kids to envision a beautiful future, a career that would be just beautifully tied to their personality type and their interests and their talents, abilities, gifts, and strengths. And then once we know that, when kids are in about January of 10th grade, then we plot out what's the fastest, least expensive way to get there. What's the college that's probably going to get her straight to that goal the fastest? What would be internships and job shadowing and volunteering that she could do right in that field so that she's got an impressive resume of accomplishments by the time she starts applying for jobs like that. And that's one of the things that I do. People always see me as the debt-free college lady, but I'm very different from that. It's debt-free college that leads directly to a career students excel at and love. And I talk about that in chapter 13 of Launch, how to get your kids through college debt-free and into jobs they love afterward. And I also have a tribe membership. Anyone can find that by Googling Burlowski Tribe. And I teach classes on this in that and provide people exactly the route to get all that done.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because as an advisor, I want to help make plans for my clients with the end in mind. So tell me, what do you envision your retirement to be like? What do you plan on what do you want to do? And I walk them through all of these things of volunteering and jobs and traveling and activities and all of this stuff, right? And then we work backwards. Are we going to achieve that? And it sounds similar to your strategy with kids, that 10th grade year of thinking with the end in mind. Well, what kind of, what do you see yourself doing? And then working backwards into the job, then into the major. Oftentimes we're told, well, what do you want to major in? I don't know. Political science. That sounds good. I don't know. I don't even know what a job is that's that degree, but that sounds good to me. So yeah, working backwards of what do you want your life to look like? And then taking baby steps backwards to land you at the major and what college is best suited for that.
Yes. And the thing that I really worry about is I don't want students setting this really important goal based on guessing. It needs to be based on data. And that's why we do career assessments and not the career assessments offered at the high school, which are the lowest budget, least well-researched career assessments out there. They will often take a kid who's gifted in science and engineering and math and say, oh, you should be a lumberjack or you should be a bartender. And the kids just laugh at those. But the ones I'm recommending are the real state-of-the-art gold standard career assessments. I don't offer these myself. I get nothing. I get no money at all for telling you about this. I refer out for this. I refer out to certified professionals who do this. And one of the things I really love about you is your philosophy is not just, I'm going to help you plan for retirement, but I love your attitude of, I'm here to guide you to the things that matter most in your life. And for most of us, that's not just our own retirement where we're going to be golfing and going on cruises. That's our kids. It's their education. It's their careers. It's their future financial stability. And you're helping people to navigate both. How can we pay the best, most beautiful attention to the kids while still making sure that we're taken care of in our golden years? That's an incredible gift you bring to the world. I'm always telling people, make an appointment with your financial advisor. Find a good, caring one that knows what they're doing and make an appointment and make regular appointments so that you can make sure your plans are always up to date.
One of your podcast episodes, I don't have the exact sentiment of when your 20-something comes back and lives with you, or how to avoid. And I think you're kind of alluding to it with the story you just shared, Uber driver and his political science major daughter. But is that mapping seeks to avoid, right? Apparently this education, you want your kid to go out and have a good job and have a successful. Tell me a little bit about that episode, because I enjoyed the title of it.
Well, we want kids to go out into the world and actually participate in life and go to work every day with joy and get mad when they're sick because they just love what they're doing. We don't want them to circle back around and come back and live in our cinder block basements through their 20s. That's not what we signed up for when we saved all this money for college and focused in that direction all this time. So one great line to use with kids, even very, very, very little kids, is to start saying, you're welcome to live with us rent-free as long as you're enrolled in a full-time academic or job training program. And you get kids with this instilled in their mind. I can go back and live at my parents' house for free as long as I'm enrolled in a full-time academic or job training program. I'll tell you, my little daughter was just almost like barely a toddler. And she said to me, where does Joe live? This was my cousin's son. Where does he live? I said, well, he lives with his mother. And my little daughter put her hands on her hips and said, is he enrolled in a full-time academic or job training program? You can start instilling that really early. And then kids start to feel some responsibility. I better make this work.
Absolutely. In the beginning of our conversation, I have 4 children. My oldest just turned 13. Very real, very quickly, what we have in store for us the prep before that, obviously, but the expense that is becoming very real. And then her siblings are right there after, because the problem is, if you have arts and you feel ill prepared for that, it's just a domino effect. You're out of control, right? It's kind of a runaway train if you don't have a strategy in and I know that you do your best work with parents and students age 12. So I'm right there, right, with my daughter. So what advice would you give for their kids that are in middle school and it's becoming real? It's starting to become retake. And obviously it's more than just start saving in a 529. We can do better than that with our advice. So what would you say, John?
Yeah. So parents who've got kids in middle school, the thing I worry about for these parents is that they'll say, oh, we don't have to worry about this right now. This is a long way off. We don't have to think about college until our child's in 12th grade. If you wait until about February of 10th grade, a huge number of the best debt-free college strategies are gone and you can never get them back. A lot of these things require laying a little groundwork and doing a little bit of pre-planning. And you're naturally a good pre-planner. You're a financial advisor envisioning people's lives 40 years in the future. Most people aren't like you. Most people are just kind of going along trying to get through day by day, but we've got to encourage people to take small steps today that are going to turn into gigantic leaps in the future. So parents ask me a lot, my kids are in middle school, and what can I do right now that will help this process? Because if you're thinking that all there is applying for scholarships, that would make a person think, well, just wait until the senior year of high school. But actually, there are some key things that a family can do when kids are in middle school. And if a family does decide to wait with all the college planning until, let's say, February of 10th grade, by that point, 75% of the best debt-free college ideas are gone and you can't ever get them back. Now, it's still worth it. If you've got an oldest child right now that's in 11th or 12th grade, it's still a great idea to engage with this process because there are still some things that you can grab onto and use. But the best idea is to start early. And so I'm going to direct people to I wrote a book on this subject, and I'm not telling you what I'm about to say so I can sell books. This is a book that anybody can get for free at the library. Any librarian will order it for you, and many libraries have multiple copies in stock. And you can see the table of contents here. See how it's organized according to your kid's current month and year in school. So to not be overwhelming, parents just read a chapter every 3 months as their kids are growing up. And there's a whole chapter called Prior to 7th grade. And I tell people, if you haven't if you didn't get the book when your kids were prior to 7th grade, it's okay. You can pick up those strategies and those ideas and do them later. There's a chapter called May of 8th grade, September of 9th grade. And so people are just reading along a little bit by bit. And there's some parents that don't get the book until their kids are in 11th grade, and they jump right in on September of 11th grade and start moving forward. Now, I worry that people are going to forget to get the book back out and read their chapter. And so I have a free weekly email newsletter. It comes out every Monday morning, and it always has a helpful article in it. But over on the left-hand side, it always says, hey, everybody, here's our reading assignment for the month. If you've got a kid in 9th grade right now, be sure that you're reading this page to this page. If you've got a kid in 11th grade right now, be sure you're reading this to this. And that keeps us all on track and all marching in the same direction. And so one of the gifts I want to offer to your listeners as we're here today is I have free 10-minute video training that is just everybody's first step on this journey. And it's free training based on the age of your kid. So there's a little video you'll watch if you've got a kid in 7th or 8th grade right now. And you can find those at my website, which is jeanneburlowski.com. And if that seems too hard to spell, you can just go to debtfreecollege.us. And at debtfreecollege.us, it's the exact same website. Just this one just takes a little longer to load. And this is where I'll be able to be your guide on this journey at not just now at the beginning, but as the years go by. So I hope that helps parents who are listening here today, no matter what age kids they have. There's hope, and you just start where you are and start moving forward.
Absolutely. I think that's fantastic. I mean, like the saying goes, and I say this to my clients a lot, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago, the second best time is today. So no matter where you are in the process, take a step, take the first small step. And it's encouraging to hear that there's more advice paying for college than just save a lot and get scholarships, right? There's more to it than that. We just have to find it, right? And I think that your resources help to make it a lot easier to find that information and make it less intimidating and daunting and scary for really. So we can still get our kids the quality education, get them into a job they love while also still having the quality of life for us, right? That's what it's about. So everyone's happy and everyone's doing well in the end.
Right. So we're taking care of the parents' retirement and at the same time, what matters most to the parents, which is the lives of their kids. The kids paying their own cell phone bills and their own car insurance at the age of 21 or 22. So parents can go on with preparing for their own second act of life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So again, jeanneburlowski.com is where you can find resources. The book is called Launch: How to Get Your Kids Through College Debt Free and Into Jobs They Love Afterward. So please check out those two resources. Jeanne, thank you so much for joining me today. It was a pleasure. I learned a lot, and it's definitely you're making it not as scary as a mother. I'm wearing my mom hat. It's not as scary, right?
Right.
Thank you.
There are people that will help with this journey. And it's just like, does retirement have to be scary? No, there are wonderful, kind people that have scouted out the land before you that will help you walk through this process. You just need to access the resources that are available.
Thank you so much.
It was great to be here, Sherry.
Ever wondered how to secure your financial future? Introducing Financial Foundations, the ultimate financial planning program. Take control of your money, plan for the future, and build a secure financial foundation. Join us on a journey to financial freedom. Visit greenwaywealthadvisory.com today to start your path to a brighter financial future.